Back in August 2009, a beatboxing-based music video game was created, developed, and published by the studio So Far So Good. What started off as a flash page would be later released as a mobile and tablet app. Incredibox has allowed its users to create their own music with a group of virtual beatboxers. Based on a simple concept, users could drag and drop icons onto the avatars to make them sing and start to compose their own music. What made Incredibox such a success was due to its gaming and education aspect. Not only were people enjoying their music creation, they were also learning about music elements as well. Eventually, due to all the hype, Incredibox related content began to make its way onto YouTube. A genuine and dedicated fanbase was starting to be formed, and as with all popular games, those part of the community wanted to bring new life to the game, and so mods were being created. While there are many mods and fan projects I could talk about, I want to focus on one called Sprunki, which was created by Nyanko BF. On August 26, 2024, Nyanko would upload Sprunki to the website Scratch. Gameplay wise, it's essentially the same as the original Incredibox. However, what makes Sprunki different is the set of 20 characters that fit into the categories of beats, melodies, vocals, and effects. I won't go into too much detail regarding the characters, as you'll be seeing more of them later on. As you can see, the icons shown all have their own function, and eventually players learn that when clicking and dragging the hat icon onto the characters, the mod turns into something called horror mode. The mod actually received a ton of attention in its early stages, as users enjoyed the set of characters and were big fans of the horror mode. But due to its graphic nature, Sprunki would be taken down a few times on Scratch, and would then make its way onto other sites such as Kokria.world and Incredimake. As I previously mentioned, Sprunki would receive a ton of attention and would eventually make its way onto YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't for the best of reasons. I'm sure you all have heard of content farms, right? Well, unfortunately, it seems that no matter what, any new popular game or mod that's specifically aimed for children will be a victim to content farms and fall into brain rot content. On the topic of brain rot, Lankybox, a channel known for just milking out the newest trends, quickly hopped on the Sprunki bandwagon, and of course it wouldn't be a content farm if none of the characters involved weren't highly sexualized. I mean, do I even have to explain what this is? As time went on, Nyanko would be informed about what was happening on YouTube regarding Sprunki, and so he would address some of his concerns on his personal YouTube channel and on Scratch. Due to the high amount of negative attention Sprunki was receiving, and how Nyanko hated what his creation was being turned into, he told people to stop making Sprunki related content, and to stop remixing his mod, as it will only feed into the disturbing Sprunki content farms. But even with his request, people wouldn't stop, and things would soon get worse for Nyanko. Not only was Sprunki receiving a bad rap on YouTube, but there were a ton of those who hated his work on Twitter. Now, how badly did people despise his work? Well, it got to the point where his Discord account and server got hacked, and was flooded with inappropriate and vile behavior. The person who hacked him spammed his server, and started messaging his personal friends by just saying nasty things. On top of this, his Scratch account was also hacked, and that meant that all his hard work on other games and Sprunki updates were taken away. Sprunki once again responded to the entire situation, and explained that the content farms were out of his control, and that it wasn't his fault that others were constantly posting about Sprunki. Ending off, he stated that people should just ignore the mod if it's that big of a problem, but of course, they wouldn't listen, and this entire situation would only get worse. Shortly after, the same hacker would post another video on their channel, leaking private information about Nyanko, such as his birth date, full name, revealing what he looks like, and even exposing his father's personal information. Something that I should also mention is that at the time of all of this, Nyanko was only 15 years old, and I couldn't imagine how he was feeling going through all of this pressure. The hacker even took it a step further and threatened him, saying that he would end his life and leak all of his other family members' personal info. Yup, sanest Twitter user. And once again, this was all because the hacker wasn't too fond of Sprunki and hated seeing the content farms. Due to the heavy stress Nyanko was receiving, he made a community post and decided that he would take breaks from the internet. This was made around 3 months ago, and looking at his channel's activity, he seems to still be active, but I can imagine that he's still trying to build his way back up after dealing with all the unnecessary nonsense surrounding the hacking and doxing situation. Regarding the content farms, it just seems that no matter what, they will continue until those making them get bored or the money stops coming in. But even after that, they'll just move on to something else. BlueyGate refers to a genre of ElsaGate related content based on the Australian TV show series Bluey. Bluey is an animated preschool TV series that premiered on ABC Kids on October 1st, 2018. Throughout its airtime, Bluey has managed to consistently receive high viewership in Australia and has even received numerous awards. But even with this high praise, there's gotta be people that ruin it. On the Bluey subreddit, a post was made 2 years ago explaining that there was Bluey ripoffs circulating around on YouTube. A news article was linked that goes into more detail mentioning that channels are uploading spoof episodes of the show. The videos resemble the same characters and animations from the original show, however the storyline and elements were completely different and definitely weren't kid friendly. Thankfully, shortly after, the channels presented in the article were taken down, and from what I've seen, the Bluey community is heavily against this, and a ton of other channels showing disturbing Bluey related content have also been removed. In the past, I posted a video talking about BlueyGate and how a handful of channels were taking advantage of Bluey's popularity and making videos that contained not safe for work content. The channels I mentioned were Animation 4.0, Animation 5.0, and Animation 6.0. Today, these channels are nowhere to be seen. I could only find re-uploads, but to be honest, there's not a whole ton of them. But even with all that being said, there are sadly still existing Bluey Content Farms, and honestly, it might just be worse than the other channels previously mentioned. A YouTuber named Hideaki the Shikoki made a video discussing some of the new content farms. While Hideaki covers many channels, I want to specifically go over this one called Puppy Buddies, which for the most part doesn't cover as much not safe for work videos, but by just taking a quick glance at the channel, you can see that most of it can fall under the brain rot category. This unfortunately isn't the only channel run by the same person, as there's a Puppy Buddies too that uploads similar videos. Now, from what I've seen from the Bluey community compared to others, is they don't really mess around with content that is aimed for a mature audience, and whenever a channel produces these type of videos, they usually get taken down in a quick manner. My personal belief is that since Bluey is an actual TV show, most parents will watch the show with their kids and have a general understanding of what to expect in each episode, so whenever they search Bluey onto YouTube, they can easily identify if something is off or not. I mean, this was how it was originally discovered back in the Bluey subreddit, when I mentioned that a concerned parent noticed the disturbing Bluey channels and got them taken down. The subreddit is also pretty active, and there have been numerous posts in the past discussing watching Bluey content on YouTube. Adding on, even in Hideaki's video, it's mentioned that there were some Bluey animation channels similar to Animation 4.0, 5.0, and 6.0, but once they started popping up and gaining views, they were quickly deleted or the channel was taken down. Whatever the case may be, the videos are no longer available, and I'm sure those part of the Bluey community are thankful that inappropriate Bluey videos are not as common as they used to be. In the end, this just proves that no matter how kid-friendly a show is, there's always a chance that a deprived group of people will figure out a way to ruin its image. So, as it turns out, people miss the old YouTube. While I browse online, one of the biggest complaints that I see about the platform is the constant splurge of ads being shoved into people's faces. Before, there were many complaints about the insanely long ads lasting sometimes up to numerous hours, but now there's a certain type of them that have started to raise questions. The most common one is, how is it even allowed on the platform? Scrolling through the YouTube subreddit and other similar ones, it seems that many are finding new not safe for work ads almost every day. The most commonly talked about are ads showing short clips or still images of videos that come from an adult content site or from online streaming sites. In these cases, a woman will likely be shown doing this, I'm sure you guys can use your imagination, or engaging in some adult related activity. This seems to be a common technique, but then there's other ads that just don't care and fully expose everything for the viewer to see. Now of course I can't fully show this one, but essentially there's a person strapped to a car in a vulnerable position while they're playing with a toy, and it's just not a regular toy. Probably the most confusing aspects of these ads are what they're trying to promote or advertise doesn't relate to what you're being shown to at all. The ad I just described is promoting an app named Cecilia, which is an AI photo editor. Another sample shows more explicit content, and this one advertises an app titled Sharmic Charades Game that's supposedly 18+. On the topic of games, I'm sure some of you have seen some mobile games being advertised on YouTube as well. There are some in which the player purposely messes up and leaves the viewer in complete rage and questioning why they would make such a dumb mistake. And then there are others that once again show strange advertising. This one starts off with a clip of someone taking off socks of a bunch of people, which then cuts to the game that's being advertised known as Top Heroes. A newer one that I've seen people mentioning is the AI kissing app, which allows a person to take a photo of themselves or someone else and generate a video of them kissing each other. Now, to be honest, I almost felt bad for those recreating themselves and someone of their liking kissing each other, because at the end of the day they might just be lonely individuals. But then I remembered that I shouldn't feel bad because this is deepfake content and can be considered illegal in some cases. AI and deepfake content will only become more widely available in the future, and it's honestly scary to see how video and image manipulation can be used to destroy the reputation of another person.